Yes.
And I do not want to get in a situation where that might be, for whatever reason, rejected.
If you would like, I will bring you the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, and I suggest you look up ballast and read what it says about ballast. The only person who can reject this rock is us. That's it. The FRA can't reject the rock. The PUC can't reject the rock. The only people that can reject this rock is us.
So
period.
There's no government oversight over how we use this money or
No.
what the match is?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
the question is asked. Obviously, there's government oversight with regards to this
well, yes.
deal, and they have to approve the match, but the value of that, they have a procedure that they go through with value. They don't look at quality of the rock, though.
Well, I guess, and that's when I said no. In other words, the government can't come in and say that rock isn't good enough because the Code of Federal Regulations, which the FRA, the Federal Railroad Administration, the PUC, and the Nevada Northern Railway all have to follow, is silent on the type of rock. So even if someone from USDOT came in and said, I don't like your rock, they don't have a leg to stand on. In fact, Vic Crumley, the chief inspector for railroads for the state of Nevada, says, you know what, you have to follow the entire CFR. But there's one rule in the CFR that I have no jurisdiction. There's no rule against ugly track. As long as we're engaged, as long as we have the ties, as long as we have the drainage, we're good to go. And again, unless someone knows of a checkbook out there that's considerably larger than this community, I believe, has, this is our best chance to ever get that railroad open.
I agree completely. I just don't want to be in a situation where that match is not accepted.
In all of the research I have done, and all of the reading I have done, I can see nothing, no even inkling, that says that rock would not be acceptable. And again, if you walk the track, if you've looked at what both Kennecott has done through the course and what BHP Railroad did, it's that rock from the mine is the best thing that this railroad has received in 100 years. It's as simple as that.
Question for those of us who are newbies or troglodytes in my case, what's the time frame on this project?
If the grant is approved, they want us to start construction September of next year, which for a federal grant is pretty fast.
And it would be completed?
Actually, in a sense, it's a pretty simple project. Basically, for this particular part of the project, the major parts of it will be the road crossings at Curry, the road crossing on Pole Line Road. Those are probably somewhere around 3-month projects. To actually put the rock in and the track in, if we have cooperative weather, you're probably looking at about a 6-month job.
So my friends who are driving the trucks back and forth between here and Wendover can start looking for work in about 2 years?
Well, I would not have them start looking until the grant is approved. Like I said, they had $4.5 million to give away, and they received $9 billion worth of requests. So
the project cost $19 million?
$19 million.
Where's the other $15 million coming from?
He misspoke. There's $450 million.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you said 450.
Oh, yeah. 450. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a heart attack.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to ask you, I was driving back from Milton the other day, and I'm trying to figure out where that track crossed at Curry.
Right at Curry. Yeah, quite literally.
Right at Curry.
Just right at Curry. You drove right over it. It's still there.
Both sides. The
Yeah.
track coming into the road.
Do you foresee any problems with the DOT allowing you to put a crossing there?
Well, the DOT would prefer that we didn't put a crossing there. The problem with that is we have the senior land rights. And not only that, we have a customer, and that is the mine. So the railroad was there long before the DOT was there. The DOT, in conversations that I've had with them, will not accept what we've had there in the past, which was basically flashing lights. In fact, on the grant, we're estimating the cost of the Curry crossing at about $2.5 million. And the reason for that is DOT wants that crossing to be 4 lanes. So the vehicles that have to stop at the crossing will have a pull-out lane. So your field trucks and school buses will be able to pull out of the traffic lane to do their stop, then accelerate across the track. Because of that, that means we're going to need extra long gates and additional gates. And the other thing DOT has talked about too is a little signal basically on Curry Hill. When there's a train coming, there'd be a flashing light, warning stop ahead or something like that.
I would hate to see this money spent on new track and then stopped by the DOT.
Oh, well, no.
Get it okay before you start.
Oh, absolutely. The DOT is going to have to sign off on this. I mean,
And interestingly, didn't you say the DOT actually submitted a
yes,
report?
and well, yes, as part of both the state transportation plan and the state rail plan, they both want to see that track in service. In fact, there was a third study too, which is the State Highway Preservation Plan. Approximately 50% of the roads that the mine uses from here to Windover are in fair condition, and then below fair it goes to poor rather. So NDOT really wants to see this because actually it was a very interesting study. NDOT, like just about every other government agency, is caught between a rock and a hard place. They don't have the funds to do the work that they need to do, and this stuff only gets worse instead of better with time. So by us getting the trucks off of the highway, we'll extend the life of the road here from here to Windover. So we're included in the state transportation plan and the state rail plan. So, and the director of NDOT did write a letter of support too.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yes. So
So the mine has signed off.
the mine wrote a very strong letter of support for this. And again, it does,
But we don't have any document committing them to this?
as far as signing a contract saying,
Yes.
no, we do not have a contract, because we don't have a
So
railroad.
theoretically, they could back out of it.
Theoretically, they could back
And
out.
we'd be stuck with a bill for $19 million?
Well, it's a
Which
grant.
comes to about $420 for everybody, $4,200 for everybody new.
It's a grant, so there's no bill.
There's no bill.
Right, exactly. On a grant,
Match doesn't come through, you can always not accept the grant.
yes, exactly. And again, that's an excellent point. But the fact of the matter is, there is no cheaper way of transporting their copper concentrate than by rail. Period. So,
And they have also, as you will note in the next agenda item when that comes up, they've agreed to pay the costs of doing this Tiger Grant application, mine.
yes,
So,
yes.
which
So,
was around $8,000.
right. See, when we look at the railroad and opening up the railroad, we think about the copper concentrate going up. The mine also uses 1 million gallons of fuel a month. So you have 1 million gallons of diesel fuel rolling right through our city to service that mine. And in fact, for the Tiger Grant, I took a picture of one of the trucks going past the middle school, and just through coincidences, I took the picture. I had the truck next to the middle school, and then on the hill above it, I had locomotive 204 in the background. It was going up the track. I mean, you've taken all of this hazardous material, you've taken all of these ores right off the street in front of the middle school and put it up on the hill away from all of the schools. So, again, the economics on getting that rail line open not only helps the mine, but it also extends the life of the mine because their transportation costs are going to go down not only on their outbound loads, but also on their inbound loads. I mean, if you see the commercials on television by CSX Railroad, they talk about being able to move a ton of freight 500 miles with a gallon of fuel. You can't beat that with a truck. Yeah.
Plus we'll have freight coming in, that hopefully we'll have goods and products on it.
Oh, exactly. One of the letters we received was from Bath Lumber. In their letter, they mentioned how they built a spur into their business. They would love to see the track coming in. The letters that we received 23 letters of support. Again, the county commissioners in Elko County and Eureka County were again very supportive. They see this as a big help for their mines too, their mines and their businesses. And one of the big surprises to me is the amount of hay that leaves Eureka County. You're talking 400 carloads a year. That's a lot of hay. And they're very excited if they could do the transfer here with Eureka.
There's absolutely no prospect for passenger service on that line.
If there's always, Class 2 meets the standards. If there's an economic need, you could do passenger service on it. Would we run the excursion train on it? I think once a year we'd run a trip, or maybe twice a year, from here to Curry and back again. And that would be about it. So
Otherwise, the McGill line would be.
the McGill line
Yeah,
would
the
be
depot.
open, yes. Yes, in fact, if we're successful with this, you know, the advantage to using the McGill line over the Keystone line is we have the station in McGill, and now that we have more visibility because we cross US 93 3 times. So, and then we would have a destination, and we have plans of doing a museum on Kennecott Copper and immigration in the McGill Depot. So, yeah, it's a very big project that will have major ramifications to the community if the grant is approved. Yes, exactly.
Any other questions? Then we'll read.
Where you got the one.
Yeah, number 2.
I thought that he was just talking about. Executive Director Mark Bassett, discussion action to extend the form of thank you. Oh, I didn't. Thank you to Robinson Nevada Mines for donating payment for the Tiger Grant. Ryder Railroad Line Rehabilitation Cost Benefit Analysis and $4 million worth of rock as a Tiger Grant match.
Yes.
I would move that we sell like
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Letter is now, Jennifer will write the letter. Awesome.
Who's going to write the letter?
Jennifer.
I might have
It's coming from us, so it's.
Okay. All right, sure. All right.
Anything else?
So we do have the commitment for $4 million worth of rock.
Correct. Yes, we do.
Okay, how much is that? How many tons? But you've got some paperwork.
I have some paperwork. I can't remember it. It's probably more than we need.
If you can get that
Yes.
information to us.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll end this meeting and move on.
Thank you.
All right, well, that was the city council meeting again. Number 6, item for discussion action with the city council as recommended by the utility board. Number 1, board members Robinson Nevada Mining representative, discussion possible action, update the utility board on the Robinson Nevada development, roof pit development, and water mitigation efforts within the city of Wheeler. There she is.
Lisa Friedman from the Robinson Mine. I'd like to start off by saying I'm excited about the prospects for the railroad, and glad to see we can put our rock to good use. As far as updates for the Robinson Mine, there's really no major changes. We're still mining in the same pits, primarily in the Ruth pit. A little bit of work from the Kimbley pit. We're mostly moving dirt around in the Liberty pit. As far as dewatering, it's mainly in the Ruth pit with a lake from the Liberty pit that we're dewatering. For sake of something new, the mill was down for the past few days just for normal maintenance, and it will be coming back up tonight. And that's about all I have for you guys. And
Oh, what happened with RP6? RW6P?
RW6P, so for those of you who don't know, RW6P, we ended up pulling the pump. It dropped in pumping capacity, and we wanted to make sure that there's nothing going wrong with that well, with that pump. And at this point, I don't have an update for you. They ended up not pulling it yesterday as was planned. They pulled it today, and I haven't gotten an update from the drillers as far as what's going on. We'll have an update tomorrow morning.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And number 2, board member, city engineer Alvaro Palmer, discussion about fire change comparison to award bid for the wastewater treatment plant group replacement.
We received 2 bids back for this screw pump out the wastewater treatment plant. One bid was from O'Flaherty Plumbing and Heating, a local contractor. The other one was from a contractor named Diego Buena out of San Francisco. O'Flaherty bid $88,456. Diego Buena's bid was $178,000. We went through, we analyzed the bids, made sure all the paperwork was there that was needed to be, and we recommend that you award the project to O'Flaherty Plumbing and Heating, as they are responsible for the lowest one.
So moved.
Well, the utility board did not give a recommendation as they only had 2 members and one of them was just down 30 from 30 coming, so they gave no recommendations.
Any questions on this one? Big difference in price. I know that. Any motion, anybody want a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, then we'll go to number 3. Federal Refinery, found that section possible action consideration of the residential building and commercial building belonging to Tom Bass.
Mr. Bath came and he had some problems with, two problems. One with his billing at Bath Lumber, and that was in March, and he had let's see, Jim can probably help me out a lot. He had on the Bath Lumber, he had a meter that was bad, and O'Flaherty replaced the line, but the meter was still reading wrong. So the utility board voted to lower his bill back to what the average per month would have been, because it was.
No, didn't they vote to do the highest?
That's on the tree.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What they did on the Bath Lumber building down there, Veronica probably more, they've done the dog leg or around the leaking thing, and the meter was actually still full of moisture condensation. Hard to read it. They went back, read it, and the condensation was gone. They got a gallonage adjustment, which came out on in Mayville. So
They actually
square on that.
discovered the error here and corrected it.
So they corrected it. So there wasn't anything to do on the Bath Lumber bill. His new house up on the hill. There was some of the
Residential house.
Okay, well, they need to put a meter. He has to pump. I don't know if I have to get quite, I would have written better notes. But he has to pump water from the city. He pumps his own water up the hill to the tanks. And then from the tanks, his own tanks, he waters the trees. There's 2 fire hydrants up there. And the utility board thought it would be better to try to get Tom and BJ and Ron together and move the meter from down the bottom, move it up past the 2 fire hydrants he has. Because we don't charge anyone on a meter to put a fire out. That comes up from the city water. The problem, I guess, years ago when he started his house, I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago or something, it's a long time ago, he didn't want a meter. There was a problem with putting a meter on a private property and the city employee going in and reading the meter. So this was going to be a discussion between the 3 of them and come back to make a better discussion, because if the city has to put in an 8-inch or a 6-inch meter, that's really expensive. But if we can meter it coming out of the tank, 2-inch,
There's one of the situations that's happening right there, and again, I'm not positive of how it's hooked up, and that's what we're going to look at, but he's being serviced off of a 2-inch line, and so his fire hydrants are being serviced off of a 2-inch line. There is an 8-inch line that's there, but that valve is closed to force the water through the meter. And so it's a situation where if there ever is a fire up there, the fire department has, I think, been on notice and is aware of it, that they got to open that valve to actually get true fire flow up on top of the hill. And so we're trying to remedy the figure out exactly how that's hooked up, try to remedy that situation, so hopefully we can come up with something where fire department doesn't have to worry about a valve off-site, they got open to be able to fight a fire right there.
Has that hydrant been certified?
I don't know, they were up there they were put up there,
We had that issue with some other.
those were put up from what we were told, Ross, 15, 20 years ago. And when they put up, the previous engineer wanted, it comes off a 6-inch water main, they had him run an 8-inch water main up the hill, which seems wrong, they should have, go from the small, but anyway, so.
Would he be able to put out a fire if he had a fire up there?
But that's why I'm asking. They've been tested and certified to deal with, I want to hook to it, and let's say if I had to hook to it, and there was damage done because it wasn't adequately installed, or I can't get water out of the county, that's another.
And maybe Ross should go with us.
So Ross would be good, yeah. His bill in February was inside water for just these trees up there was $1,300, and the capital improvement was $590. His bills were. So I mean, there's a lot of problems, but the bill was one problem, and the other problem is a water department engineering problem, how to fix the solution that they put up there is not good for the city because we have fire hydrant service, but we don't pay for water.
That may be serviced by his 2-inch pump.
So I think part of it, they just said, have Ron and they wanted Ron and BJ and Tommy to get together to find a solution that would benefit the homeowner and the city.
Okay, so what do we,
So it's on the bills, there was an error from the computer company to wrongly charge the capital improvement fund, which our office can fix, or maybe they fix it already did. And so the next thing is to decide what to do with these bills. Utility board, their suggestion to the city council was to go as high as bill and charge, what they were.
He does admit that he had a leak up there at some point, but he does not believe it was $1,000,007.
Well, when the spring came, if there was $1,700,000 one month, there would have been a lot of the site coming down.
What does Mr. Bath want to see done?
He was agreeable to that. He was agreeable to the utility board's suggestion of going back and crediting his account for, going back and change it from, like I said, the one was $500 back to $10, and going to the highest month for these bills work, and charging him on that.
So we need a motion on that.
Gallon, you just reverse the excess gallons, was reversed all the numbers in the computer.
So do we need a motion on that?
We need a motion.
I would move that we accept the utility board's recommendation.
all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Opposed? Number 4, Chairman Norcross, special possible action, consideration of the water testing rates, the city of the charges, the McGill Group, consolidated sewer and water general improvement district.
The McGill, Ruth wants, they're paying, you have a list of the prices that they're paying from Wet Labs in Reno. They do have to fly the samples out. They would like to have the city even do it. We have our charges for what we charge, because the city also does it for some other private people. The utility board wanted to have Ron come back next month with a price that he thought, what he could do it for, if we could come close to that. Would be a benefit to help out Ruth McGill if we would have to fly the samples out. And be a neighborly, helping other city out. So next month they just tabled it to come back next month so Ron gets together prices.
So we need to get prices before we do it.
So they just tabled that, so I think we should just table that also.
For a motion?
So the table.
Okay, we got so moved and not even a second. How's that?
That sounds great.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? discussion possible action, approval of to replace and upgrade a section of the water main on Stevens Avenue prior to
You gonna talk, Ron?
Sure. What this is,
like you're running off.
we're in the process of doing an RTC property paving project on Center Street. Center Street was, you councilors may not be aware, last fall, winter time, they completed a new sewer and water through that area. So the intention always was, when the project was completed, we were to do an RTC project to repave and curb and gutter that roadway. That basically has been bid out, awarded, and we're waiting for one signature from the RTC side to give the contractor notice to proceed. So it's proceeding very quickly here right now. And one of the things when we did bid that out, we were fortunate that the prices came in very reasonable. We had some leftover funds, and with those leftover funds, there are some portions of the project where we could pave some additional areas and get some off-site streets connected in where we would have, complete nice blocks of road. RTC is on board with it. We will approve those change orders to do this additional area. But I couldn't give them my recommendation to proceed with that until one point in time we came back to you, because there's a portion of water line in Stevens Avenue that's only a 4-inch line. And I couldn't recommend them to go pave a new road when we're talking about a 4-inch line. So we put together some costs here. It's about 150 feet of 8-inch water line that we would like to extend, and this would get us past the point where the RTC will hopefully grant us the extra money to complete off this block, and then we would have a nice new roadway with new utilities underneath it, which should last a year.
The previous council, their thinking was that we didn't want to pave any street with old utilities underneath it. And so, with that in mind, the utility board wanted to proceed with it. The money would come out, the budget would have to be augmented.
Can Ron do it in-house?
We didn't want it in the amount of time. I don't think we could. The amount of time that it was.
Yeah, it's going to be on a quick time frame. We'll come back and prepare a package for it and get it out to some contractors to get in there quickly. It's not an enormous job, obviously, it's only 150 feet, but it is something that needs to be very quickly. The contractor's going to be very shortly riding right behind this project.
So we just have to augment the budget, just we have the money or another.
And if I remember from the utility board meeting, that was the cost was approximately $16,330 and approximately $2,000 of engineering in addition to that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think it makes any sense to pave a street and
No,
then pick it
no.
up again, so yeah, I agree.
I move we proceed with this.
Second motion. Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I think order number 6, board member, city engineer, Albert, discussion possible action approval to replace the sewer main on 4th Street and State Street. Exactly what's that?
Okay, that's right up on the hill over here above the armory. And so what transpired that brought this to our attention is we had a property owner that was having some sewer lateral issues and was going to replace the lateral. I was called to the site to come look at, said, hey, what should we be doing up here? And when we got up there, Ron and his crews were up there, and we basically traced out with some dye, find out where their lateral was headed. We kind of had an idea where it was. The dye confirmed that. And where it comes out, there's a rock wall up on First Street on the north side. That sewer comes underneath that wall, and the sewer lateral comes all the way down and connects to a manhole down here near the entrance of the armory. Very long sewer lateral. There's kind of like what I spoke earlier, there's multiple people connected along that lateral along the way. And they come to me and said, hey, we can't work underneath this wall. Totally understandable, so they got to come to a different location to come in here. To do that, they would have to go down First Street, again, paralleling down our roadway with a single lateral. I don't think that's the way to properly do it. Unfortunately, I think we've got plenty of older areas in the community where in the day they were put in and there was, you just connected to the nearest sewer. No rhyme or reason, it just connected to the nearest sewer. It was our recommendation that we extend that from Sage Street, come back to the north towards Altman, about 100 feet with a sewer main, put in a manhole. This would allow the residents to come and tie into the main without paralleling our roadway. And then it would also allow her neighbor, who we haven't actually traced it, but we believe that they're connected to it also, that they may not be having sewer problems now, but in the future they very likely will. And when at what point in time that happens, there will be a sewer main that they will be able to come in and tie into with minimal repair or damage to our street. This is, I believe, the proper way to do it. Unfortunately, it's no part of town, so done properly. Our estimate, based on that being 100 feet of sewer main, a manhole, was approximately $14,980.
Utility board moved to approve this one. It'd be funded from we'd have to augment the budget, but it would come from our, the funds that we're paying into.
We have the money there.
Yes, we have.
I have no problem with the money. I move that we accept that motion.
I don't remember it being discussed that the capital project fund. We were just going to do it as part of the 13, 14 budget.
Yeah, that's the other one we were going to augment the budget because we wanted it done in this year. This
yeah,
next
and
one.
we actually might not need to do that because of the underage on the project.
This one, we can take it out of the, just the regular budget for the sewer and water. As projects come, there's a budget for each department. And if the sewer and water have other funds, and if we run out of the budget funds for the year, then we can augment the budget out of that. So when you get a chance, I'm sure you want to sit down with Jeanette and go over it. That's, but we do have the money for it. That's the short.
It does not come out of the general fund.
No, it's not.
It's going to come out of that particular enterprise fund.
And, one thing to think back, you just awarded the project for the screw pump. The budget for that screw pump was $160. We just awarded it for $88. And so, there could be some change orders and things over there, but I would anticipate that there will be plenty of money left over in that would cover both of these projects.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7, Councilman Gerber, discussion possible action, consideration to assign values to the hydrant and backflow with meter rental agreement.
The city gave passed a clean water policy, and part of it is backflow preventers. And we were talking about coming off fire hydrant for contractors. They wanted to use it, and they have to have a backflow preventer and a meter. They're not just going to, so the water you can't tell how bad somebody's hoses are. Or where what they pumped through the hoses yesterday. So there's a backflow preventer and a meter. They're one piece of equipment, one valve. And they cost us $1,600 for them. Right? And so we needed to change our pricing. We need a package to have a meter deposit. So the utility board wanted to change it to $1,600 deposit, which is refundable when they bring it back if it's in working order. They get that back. And a monthly meter fee of $100 and a daily fee of $5. I leave the rest of the rental agreement charges the same. And so far, Ron has 3 of them out, and he's ordered 2 more. So we'll have 5 people that are using it. So
We ordered more now. We had no customer.
Oh,
We
yeah.
didn't have one.
Did it work? 5 still?
I thought it was up to 6.
6.
Yeah.
Do we know how this compares with charges from other communities our size and that? Or close, or anywhere else?
I don't think
Or-
we have,
But the costs aren't, Sam, or the cost of the meter is $1,507. We threw $1,600 to try to recover.
I was just wondering what the cost was comparable to other communities then.
Well, the meter, the $1,507 whether you pay for it here or in Winnemucca or whatever. The cost of the
Okay.
meter, we're just replacing the meter cost. As for the rental rate, the annual fee for a fire hydrant, $50, I don't think it's ever being compared. And the monthly fee for the backflow is a brand new thing for us. It was, I believe, $50 in the past for other meter, the regular meter. But we did go through the process of doing that. That's just upgraded from the policy
and
manual.
then they pay you on the gallon.
I was just wondering if it's comparable to other communities, that's all.
That's it. Probably cheap.
And the utility board approved this.
Any other discussion? I'll make a motion.
I move to accept the utility board's recommendations.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 8, board member, city attorney break, discussion possible action, review, and recommendations to the city of Gila City Council with regards to proposed ordinance number 658, bill number 2013-04, an ordinance establishing cross-connection control for the commercial user of the city of Gila water system within backflow and back seepage into the city of Gila water system.
Had been presented 2 meetings ago, but right before the meeting, we had received some comments from the state that were pretty substantial. And since that meeting, I've also received some comments from the Bureau of Safe Drinking Water. I've incorporated those comments into this. At the utility board meeting yesterday, there was a recommendation that I better define under the hydrant use in the first page, paragraph B, as in dog, that I clarify at the very end of that, where it says, or a department-approved inspected air gap system is properly installed, it would be, or a Ely Municipal Water Department-approved inspected air gap system is properly installed, so there's no confusion as to what that department is. That's the only change that they made, and they recommended accepting this as a first reading. At this point, it has to go be advertised in the newspaper, and you'll have a public hearing. You probably don't have an opportunity at the next meeting, so it'll be the meeting after that, so it'll be the first meeting in July, where the public hearing will advertise along with the second reading of the ordinance. First meeting in July.
July 4th is holidays.
It's the second Thursday,
Second Thursday.
so it'll be July 11th.
Oh, wonderful.
Second and third.
Well, you ever done it in the calendar?
We get all screwed up in November.
So yeah, the public hearing will take place on July 11th, and then also the second meeting at that time. And then 20 days after that, it actually becomes part of our code, our city code. So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to review this prior to today's meeting or how you want to handle it. But it's been in the works for a little while. We're being required to do this through the Bureau of Safe Drinking Water through the state.
This is a business law.
I move we move forward with the cross-connection plan.
Second.